I've heard a lot about Wuthering Waves, but have been avoiding playing it for some time. Why, you ask? Well, I'll get into that later in the video. But after hearing all the buzz about version 2.0 and the drama unfolding between Wuthering Waves and Genshin Impact players, I thought, why not download the game and try it myself? Now, after playing it for a good amount of time, I want to share my honest opinion with you all in this video. And no, the thumbnail isn't just clickbait. I'll get into that later too. But before we start, I'd like to thank my early subscribers. Your support really means a lot to me, and you guys are the best people on earth. If you're new here, please drop a like if you agree with my opinion about the game, and subscribe if you don't. Also, hit the bell icon while you're at it. I mean, I really need it, and I'd really appreciate it if you do. With that being said, welcome. I'm Bit, and this is EveryBit-Game. To set the context, I played Genshin Impact when it first came out, all those years ago. It was huge. Honestly, I loved the graphics, the characters, and the map. I had played Breath of the Wild before, so I knew where the gameplay inspiration came from. But it didn't matter to me, because I've always loved the gameplay mechanics of Breath of the Wild. It felt like a fresh, new experience with all the graphical updates and the story. Plus the fact that anyone could play it on a phone was a big deal for me back then. I'm a huge sucker for good graphics and a great story. So naturally, when Wuthering Waves came out, I downloaded it and started playing. But my laptop, which has a metal chassis, started heating up and reached the point where it was burning my GPU and CPU, with temperatures going above 95 degrees. So I decided to hold off playing for a couple of updates, hoping the game would get better optimized so I could play it without risking my hardware. I could have played it on my phone, but with all the beautiful graphics this game has to offer, I felt like, nah, it's meant to be played on a bigger display, so I passed. But recently, with the 2.0 update, I downloaded it and played again. Now, here's my honest opinion about the game, and I'll let you know whether I like Wuthering Waves or Genshin Impact more. If you disagree with my opinion, that's totally fine. It's a subjective matter, and I don't expect anyone to like the same things I do. With that being said, let me give it to you straight. I loved Wuthering Waves more. Period. You can hit the like button now and subscribe. What? You want to know why I like Wuthering Waves more? Okay, here are my thoughts. Let's start with the visuals, because first impressions are important. In my opinion, the graphics, characters, art style, color palette, effects, and environments in Wuthering Waves have a level of maturity that Genshin Impact doesn't quite match. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying Genshin looks bad, but what I mean is that Wuthering Waves looks better. Again, this is subjective, but to me, Genshin feels way too bright, whereas Wuthering Waves has a more balanced tone that's more pleasing aesthetically to look at. When it comes to the story, I like the lore of Wuthering Waves more than Genshin. To me, the initial story of Genshin wasn't that interesting, and I understand that better now after playing Wuthering Waves. It hooked me right from the beginning, and the fact that we can collect the TDs after defeating them was something that really resonated with me. The suspense and the degree of control it gives you over the story made me feel like I was actually at the center of it. Now let's talk about world and exploration. I really love wandering around and exploring, but in Genshin, I found myself constantly frustrated by that stupid stamina bar, and the lack of mounts or vehicles made it annoying to cover long distances. Before you mention the fast travel towers, yes, I'm aware of those, but they completely defeat the purpose of having such a beautiful world to explore. Even in Breath of the Wild, we have the option to tame wild horses. I can't say Wuthering Waves is much different in this regard, but at least we can run as much as we want when we're not engaged in combat. Speaking of which, I love the combat mechanics. It's still too early for me to talk about it in depth since I'm still learning and experimenting, but I really appreciate how each TD boss is so different from one another in terms of their movesets. The way they complement the characters based on their classes is also very interesting. Additionally, the intro and outro attack combos are a nice touch to the game. However, I'll give credit to Hoyoverse for better combat mechanics not for Genshin. But for Zenless Zone Zero, I think Zenless has the most fun and intuitive combat of any game. If you'd like me to create a video on Zenless, Let me know in the comments below because I'd love to do so. Now, let me address the elephant in the room. Why did I regret playing Wuthering Waves so late? I mean, isn't it obvious? I had to start late, which means I've missed so many banners already, including the Shorekeeper. But I'm happy I started before Brant joins the game. I mean, look at him. He's the perfect male character to main. And you don't have to take my word for it. You can see for yourself how much everyone is hyped for this guy. We're talking about over 1 million views and more than 40k likes for a male character. Can you believe that? It's insane. It's even more than Phoebe. And she's beautiful too. I'm also excited about the quality of life improvements that are supposed to come with the 2.1 update. One of them is the ability to save your Echo build as a preset. Up to 20 of those. Holy, that's going to be freaking awesome. Not just that, but we can also expect new areas on the map to explore. Plus, there's a new game mode coming. Something similar to the Deep Blue War Zone from Punishing Grey Raven, where you basically clear hordes of enemies and choose 1 out of 3 buffs with every wave you clear, until you finish the challenge and claim all the rewards. And that's not all, there's also a sort of PvP race coming. But it's not all rosy for Wuthering Waves. There's one issue that has been present since its inception. The Korean dialogues and translations have been poor, and Korean players have been complaining about this for a long time. Now, while this doesn't directly impact me, I just wanted to highlight it here because it wouldn't be fair to ignore it as a gaming community just because it doesn't affect us. I also think Kuro should address this as soon as possible, especially since Korea has the largest fan base for Wuthering Waves in the world. It's especially important when they know the fact well enough to do collabs with restaurants like Pizza Hut in Korea, offering cool collectibles with every order of a specific item, like the ones appearing on the screen. I'm really excited about 2.1. Are you? Drop a comment, like the video if you enjoyed it, and subscribe to stay connected. I'm here to make some buddies to enjoy the games with. After all, it's more fun when we play together, and every bit of it. Until next time, see you in the next video.